Part 3. The National Security Colossus, 1939 through 75. The calendar recorded the completion of a decade, but the events of 1939 would mark the passage of an era. The world stood watching, transfixed by what Winston Churchill called the gathering storm, awaiting the final climactic acts in what he described as another 30 years' war. Footnote: for Churchill's own account of events leading to the outbreak of World War II, see Winston S. Churchill, The Gathering Storm, Boston, Houghton Mifflin Company, 1948. End footnote. Hitler had been tolerated. Der Führer had been appeased. And then, with the invasion of Poland on first day of September, the aggression of Nazism had to be halted. While England, supported by the British Empire, was destined to be Germany's primary opponent for 2 years prior to American entry into the European hostilities, His Majesty's government had only recently come to a wartime posture. Production of modern fighter aircraft, the Spitfire and Hurricane types, had not gotten underway until 1937. It has been estimated that in 1938 and the initial months of 1939, quote, Germany manufactured at least double and possibly triple the munitions of Britain and France put together, and also that her great plants for tank production reached full capacity. End quote. Conscription was not effected in the United Kingdom until April 1939. Churchill did not form a government until May 1940, approximately 9 months after the declaration of war. The British did have some advantages, one of them being the development and deployment of radio direction finding techniques, or radar. Experimental stations were erected in March 1936 for aircraft detection, and efforts were also made to track ships at sea utilizing this device. According to Churchill, quote, by 1939, the Air Ministry, using comparatively long-wave radio, 10 meters, had constructed the so-called coastal chain, which enabled us to detect aircraft approaching over the sea at distances up to about 60 miles. An elaborate network of telephonic communication had been installed under Air Marshal Dowding of Fighter Command, linking all these stations with a central command station at Uxbridge, where the movements of all aircraft observed could be plotted on large maps, and thus the control and action of all our own air forces maintained. Apparatus called IFF, Identification Friend or Foe, had also been devised, which enabled our coastal chain radar stations to distinguish British aircraft, which carried it from enemy aircraft. It was found that these long-wave stations did not detect aircraft approaching at low heights over the sea, and as a counter to this danger, a supplementary set of stations called CHL, Chain Stations Home Service Low Cover, was constructed, using much shorter waves, 1.5 meters, but only effective over a short range. End quote. In June 1938, Churchill was introduced to another detection technique, the ASDICS, quote, the name which described the system of groping for submarines below the surface by means of sound waves through the water which echo back from any steel structure they met. End quote. This process also stood ready for application at the time when open warfare erupted on the continent. But while these technological innovations would soon be replicated by Germany, Britain obtained one inestimable intelligence advantage over the Nazis, which has only recently been publicly revealed. In 1938, through the intervention of a Polish mechanic just fired from the production facility in eastern Germany, British intelligence learned that the Nazis were developing an improved Enigma mechanical cipher process. Soon, the Polish Secret Service proved successful in purloining one of the machines. By the eve of war, the British had mastered the operation of the device and its resultant code. Simultaneously, Germany, unaware of the British intelligence advantage, put the new Enigma process into service and utilized it all during the war. Footnote: further details on the breaking of the German code and its use during the war may be found in F.W. Winterbotham, The Ultra Street, New York, Harper & Row, 1974. End footnote. This is Our Hidden History